Hey, you think comedies get overlooked at the Oscars?
Why would you say that?
I don't know. Just thinking. Seems like if you make a war drama or a biopic, you're guaranteed to get in.
That's crazy, Mark. Think about Groundhog Day, Borat, and Bridesmaids. They were all nominated.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Oh, hi, cinema buffs. The Disaster Artist tells the story of the making of the classic cult bad movie, The Room. It stars James Franco as the writer, producer, director, star of The Room, Tommy Wiseau, and his brother, Dave Franco, as the co-producer, Tommy Wiseau's best friend and co-star, Greg Sestero.
Yep.
So, Nate, you and I both love The Room. We've watched it a couple times. We love laughing at how bad it is. We have some knowledge of the history of it being made. I actually, myself, have read the book. And so I was very excited about this going into this one, and just like the team that got behind it. I mean, Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg and James Franco producing this. Yeah. James Franco also directing it. It's kind of
and starring in it.
Yeah, it's kind of a little Room-ish.
Yeah.
So let's just start there with James Franco. What did you think about him playing Tommy Wiseau?
I think that James Franco did a really, really good job with this. You know, I didn't like. The thing is, I didn't see Tommy Wiseau, and I didn't see James Franco. You know, he made it his own, and I think that this is one of his greatest performances. What about you?
Oh yeah, he knocks it out of the park with this one. I mean, when you understand the making of The Room, and you kind of peel back a layer or two about Tommy Wiseau and just who he was and what he was trying to do with making that movie. Yeah. And then just James Franco, just like he peels back some more layers, and I thought it'd be a 2-hour impression. Of Tommy Wiseau. I was really afraid that's what it was going to be. Just like it was a SNL skit that was stretched out into a feature-length film. But no, he did a good job, like, you know, emulating him. And also, it wasn't a parody impression the entire time. There were times where, he did go a little bit hammy, but the movie called for it and it worked. But then there was times where he was really deep and he, you know, gave a lot of emotion. And like never at any point when I was watching The Room, like I felt bad for Tommy Wiseau. It's like, no, it was his money to burn on this terrible movie and he did it. But like watching this, I was like starting to feel bad for, you know, what he was trying to do and what ended up happening. Yeah,
I agree. I mean, first off with the performance, I think it took a second for the theater to get used to what was happening. It does take a second to get acclimated with who Tommy Wiseau is, his accent, his personality, but once you're there, I think that he did add a new depth, and he started making me look at Tommy Wiseau in a way different way than before. And very sympathetic, and just, man, he is the most interesting part. This character is the most interesting part of this movie because it's just borderline inhuman. He just doesn't seem to understand not only fictional characters and emotions and how to convey, but really real life. Like, he doesn't seem to know how to control his emotions, especially with his relationship with Greg. It really peeled back the layers of his jealousy of Greg and sort of manipulating him. You know, he really did manipulate him, and like almost constantly Greg feeling like he owes him something. Yeah.
And I really like that this movie, it was about the making of The Room, but mainly this movie was about friendship. The friendship between Tommy Wiseau and Greg Sestero. And just kind of like the, you know, the highs and lows of friendship, you know, especially like when, you know, a friend can become jealous of a situation where the friend has a girlfriend, the friend is finding some independent success that's not tied to the friend, you know, things like that. So I like the themes that they touched with friendship.
And James Franco directing this movie, I mean, this shows me that he is a very good filmmaker because I really got lost in this movie. I really got lost in the making of The Room, and just sort of, you know, the lines started to get blurred and disappeared a little bit, and I really enjoyed the direction he took with this film.
Yeah, I like what he did with the camera work. When there was like the behind the scenes stuff, like when they're filming the movie, and it's very documentarian, very handheld, and it kind of feels like, you know, you're a fly on the wall when this movie is being made. And then when there's the scenes where the cameras aren't rolling, it's, you know, static camera and very cinematic looking. So I like how they kind of blended those together, and it never felt like it was inconsistent in tone.
No, I don't think so either. I think that the camera work was great. It really, like, it starts off in a certain way where, like, you want to know what it was like to be on the set. Like, I just wish I could have been there. And you feel like you're on the set and part of this team and feeling the same way that all the crew members are. And that is like, what the hell are we doing? What is this movie about and what is going on? I will say with the pacing, it was a little bit slower at the beginning for me. I wish they would have gotten into the making of the room a little bit faster, because I like the building of the characters, I like to get to know them, but once they start making the movie, that's when it really picks up traction and starts going.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you. It did get a little slow there. Yeah. But Nate, what did you think about the laughs? I mean, because yes, it's a dramatic story, but it's also comedic. I mean, because this
is a funny movie.
It's hilarious.
This is a funny movie. And once again, effortlessly funny. Because this isn't something where they're just placing jokes. Like, now it's time for a joke. This is just a person behaving the way they always behave. Yeah. And it's funny to watch. And there are laugh out loud moments where the entire theater was really laughing. And this movie, it's difficult for me because I love The Room in a weird way. It's terrible, but I love it. It has a special place in my heart. And I think because I know that movie and I've done so much research on it and I've thought about it, am I biased that I like this movie so much? Is this movie funny to people that don't know anything about The Room? And yes, I think it's funny no matter what. Yeah,
and I think this is a movie that, like, I'm not going to say The Room is required reading for this movie.
No.
But
it'll help.
It will help. And it'll help you just, like, for kind of, like, nostalgic purposes. Like, if you're going to watch the original Star Wars trilogy before you watch any of the new ones.
Yeah,
there's callbacks, there's certain things, and there's parts where they recreate the actual movie. And those
very well.
Yeah, and those parts are just hilarious because you remember watching them from The Room. Yeah. But what I will say about the difference between The Room, that, like, so bad it's good movie, and versus something like, The Mummy.
Yeah.
The Mummy that we saw this year.
Yeah.
Is that The Room was earnestly made. Tommy Wiseau thought he was making the greatest movie of all time. Whereas, like, with The Mummy, that was just lazily made and just, half-assed.
Yeah.
This, like, it's so bad because he really thought he was making that great of a movie.
And there was passion behind it, and even the cast and Greg never stopped giving, like, that's a theme, is don't give up on yourself, don't give up on your friends, really, like, follow your dreams, and just things can happen for you. So even Greg, as going along with it, he's still telling people it's going to be good. I swear, it's going to be good. They all felt like they were doing something good. And yeah. I just want to touch base on a little bit, the ending with the premiere. Like, this moment, my heart was beating for him. And the reaction, like, man, did they capture it? Did they capture what it would be like to be in that theater for that premiere?
Right, yeah, everybody in the room is laughing except you because you're the only one who knows that it's not supposed to be funny.
Right.
And people are laughing at it. I can only imagine just how terrible that was. And it, made me think, I've watched The Room, I've laughed at it, but, at the same time, this guy put quite literally everything he had into it. And this was the result. So, it's his movie.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, it's just, that finally hit me where it's like, I laugh at this movie all the time, but you know what? People worked on this and they cared about it. We talked about James Franco, but let's flip it over to the other role, Dave Franco. How do you think he handled playing Greg Sestero, playing off his brother?
I think that Dave Franco, this is also a really, really good role, and it almost is his movie. This is his story.
Yeah.
And you sort of go along through his eyes, not through Tommy Wiseau's eyes. And I think that he held it. He held it really well. And I felt sympathy for that guy as well. There was certain moments where I just felt really bad of him being torn on moving his career forward, but also being loyal to a friend.
Yeah. He did a very good job of being like the starry-eyed kind of kid who just wants to be a big star and see his name in lights kind of thing, and just he finds someone who has kind of a magnetic personality, and so he's attracted to it, and then like it's just snowball effect from there on. It's like, all right, now I'm living with the guy. All right, now we're making this movie. All right, now I got to defend him to everyone else on the set. Like, it just seemed like it kept getting bigger and bigger and deeper relationship, and of course, eventually got so big it blew up.
Yeah. But I think that his performance is great, and I really have no complaints by any of the performances.
Oh, no, me neither.
Buffs. All right, the Disaster Artist is a movie we've been looking forward to for a long time. Let's finally just solidify a score. What did you think?
Yeah, this was one of my most anticipated movies of last year when it was supposed to come out. Yeah. But, almost 2 years later, at the end of 2017, we finally got it. and the performances are great. It makes me appreciate The Room more. It makes me appreciate filmmaking more, and just having a dream and really going for it and diving all in. The movie was funny. The movie was very heartfelt. There were sad moments. There's really just like joyous, uplifting moments, and it's just hard to complain about this movie. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to give The Disaster Artist a 9 out of 10.
All right, yeah, I also really liked this movie. It did not let me down whatsoever. It is a little bit slower at the beginning, but that's a super small, insignificant gripe with it because, like I was saying earlier, do I like this movie just because I like The Room and I know a lot about it? And I was going to fault it just a little bit, being like, people that don't know The Room might not like it, but I'm not going that route. This was a fantastic movie. This was really good. Aside from a little bit of slower start, I'm going right there with you. I'm going 9 out of 10. I really loved The Disaster Artist.
Yeah, guys.
Highly recommend.
Oh, yeah.
Buffs.
All right, guys, so that's it for The Disaster Artist. What'd you think of the performances? Think James Franco nailed it? Why don't you leave all your comments down below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We appreciate all the support at Cinema Buffs.
That's right. Next week is the big one, Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
Finally here.
Very excited about this one, and yeah, we'll be bringing you that review. We got more holiday reviews. We got all sorts of content coming your way, so don't forget.
There's no place like the theater.